Hello there, and welcome to episode 1 of Turning Tracks. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to talk about the music we love. For our first episode, we're going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite bands. They came from the 90s, are named after a gardening store in New Jersey, and were known for some of the catchiest songwriting out there. Don't worry, we aren't going to listen to Stacy's mom, but today we listen to the music of Fountains of Wayne.
Never gave her the proper respect, but she still needs the ferry to greet them. Oh, at the summer place, we got the space.
Hello there, this is Turning Tracks, a new music podcast from Geek Aid. Here's how it works. Each episode, either Matt or myself will pick a single band. Once the band is chosen, the person will have to pick 10 tracks that they believe represent what that band or artist is all about. Those 10 tracks will be discussed on the show, followed by a bonus track which we'll play out the episodes with. Since Matt and I have pretty different tastes in music, we thought this would be an excellent opportunity to expose one another to some great music we wouldn't otherwise listen to, and, well, here we are. Matt and I have been talking about video game music on our other show, Waveback, for a number of years. I adore video game music, but I'm also a tremendous fan of music in general. I've spent so much energy thinking and talking about video game music, and it's been incredibly rewarding, but that's only a part of my musical appreciation. Regular music, as it were, is also a huge passion of mine, even if my actual musical knowledge is far more limited than that of my video game music knowledge. And that's where this show comes in. I want to share the songs that I love, and hopefully the people who hear this, at the very least, will learn to appreciate what I bring to the table, and maybe even learn to love something they previously didn't. At least that's the effect I'm hoping for myself, as, like I mentioned before, Matt knows a lot of music that isn't usually my bag, and I always love an opportunity to discover something new. Matt, do you have anything to say about this entire situation before we get to work here? How you doing? all that jazz?
I'm golden. Dare I say I'm jazzed about this. Sorry. Old habits die hard. Absolutely. I mean, you did a great write-up there. I agree with every aspect of what you said. For those who don't listen to the Waveback, I'm an audio engineer first. So I've done, I don't know, on the order of like 2,000-3,000 live concerts. I've worked with all kinds of different bands, from jazz trios to, rock quartets, all the way up to 11, 12-piece Latin bands. It's a very interesting line of work to be in, especially for me, who absolutely loves music. Prior to hitting the record buttons, Kris and I were talking and, sharing a little bit of our, dare I say, our fears about doing this show. And I had mentioned that, for me, I have a very emotional connection to music. There's very particular pieces of music that I feel like everyone can say this too, that really pinpoint specific moments in my life, turning points, triumphs, defeats, so on and so forth. And for me, that's a very important thing. And as Kris, pointed out, he and I kind of have pretty different, inclinations towards our mainstay of music. So it should be very interesting. I'm a big fan of talking with people who aren't like me, because I like to learn, and I want to know your experience and, how you traverse through this world. And I think personally, music is such a window into who you are. So for my friend Kris, who I've known now, I don't know, quite a while, and we've been doing, Waveback for such a long time, I think he and I are going to have a very interesting look into each other, metaphorically. And I'm just excited for that, and I can't wait.
You made a good point there of talking a little bit about, I guess, your credentials, as it were. So I'll talk a little bit about myself. If you're new to this podcast, if you've never listened to Waveback before, I'm a video game lunatic. But as far as music goes, I've been in several bands over the years. The last one that I was in, unfortunately, we broke up after my wedding was our last gig, and it was just because that's where life was taking us. We weren't breaking up for any anger reasons or anything, but I've always been in bands with people far more talented than me. Mm-hmm. I struggle to write songs, and I would write maybe 3 songs a year, and I would be in bands with guys that would just just effortlessly fart out amazing tunes. And I'm a drummer. That's what I do. I love drums and bass. I'm the only instrument I'm genuinely good at playing is drums, but I do love playing other instruments as well. And I am very focused, and I'm sure you'll learn this over the coming episodes. Is I'm very focused on melody, which I think is one of the reasons I'm drawn to video game music as much as I am, because while I have a great appreciation for lyrics. Obviously, lyrics are super cool, but I have way more of a connection to the melodic aspects of songs than the lyrics. So there are lots of songs in the world that I don't even know the lyrics, that I've listened to a song hundreds of times and I still don't have lyrics memorized because I'm just not paying attention. I don't care. Sometimes, a lot of times I do care what people have to say. A lot of times the lyrics don't make any sense to me and I don't care, or I just straight up dislike the lyrics and I don't care. Like, there's a very catchy song by Live called Freaks. I think the lyrics in that song are terrible, but I love that song. So that's me. That's kind of me in a nutshell. So for our first episode, we're going to talk about Fountains of Wayne. Fountains of Wayne is a very important band to me, and I figured there was no better band to sum up my musical taste than Fountains of Wayne. So let's talk a little bit about the band. Fountains of Wayne was formed in 1995 by Kris Collingwood and Adam Schlesinger, who were joined by Jody Porter and Brian Young to fill out the band in 1997. They got their name from a gardening store called Fountains of Wayne in Wayne, New Jersey, and I used to drive past Fountains of Wayne with my to get to my girlfriend, who is now my wife's house. She lived in Wayne, and I would drive past Fountains of Wayne all the time.
That's so cool.
The band released 5 studio albums and 1 B-sides collection, as well as numerous singles and other effluvia. Kris was on vocals and guitar, primarily speaking. Everybody did a lot of different things. So primarily speaking, Kris was on vocals and guitar, Adam was primarily on bass, Jody handled lead guitar, and Brian was on drums. It's my understanding that Adam and Kris did the bulk of the songwriting, with Adam in particular having quite a career writing all manner of music for various TV shows like My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and the Academy Award-nominated That Thing You Do, which is also one of my favorite movies. The band enjoyed some of their most public success with their hit song Stacy's Mom, which is indeed a song that I love, but it isn't anywhere near the best of what that was on that particular album, in my personal opinion. The band unfortunately broke up in 2013, and Schlesinger passed away in 2020 from COVID complications, which absolutely broke my heart. They briefly reunited for the New Jersey pandemic relief with Sharon Van Etten playing bass for Adam, but that's, as far as I know, the end of the Fountains of Wayne story. So, as usually the point in the show where we'll talk about our personal histories, I guess I'll ask you, Matt, do you have any familiarity or personal history with Fountains of Wayne?
I mean, apart from Stacy's mom, not really. Now, Kris, you remember how we had a conversation just before this about our fears and anxieties about presenting things that we love to other people and hoping that they just don't, pull them out of the air, step on them, and kick them to the curb? So, when Fountains of Wayne hit the scene, right, 97, I was a junior, senior in high school, and I had 2 friends in my homeroom, Mike and Regina, and they were like the best of friends. They were really like awesome dudes and dudettes. But they were very big fans of Fountains of Wayne, and as well as like Everclear too. And then like that was the first time I'd ever heard the name. And then more people started talking about Fountains of Wayne. Now me being the angry, 17, 18-year-old I was like, that sounds like lame stuff. I don't want to listen to that shit. I need like metal. I need heavy metal, and the heavier the better. The faster the punk. You know what I mean? Like, so I was very in my angsty phase then. So for me, for a long time, if someone said the name Fountains of Wayne, I always had this kind of very snobbish attitude. Oh, you listen to Fountains of Wayne? Now, here's the ignorance of it. I never heard a single track, right? When did Stacy's Mom come out? Like,
God, I don't even remember.
Well, like 2010 maybe?
Stacy's Mom was on their 3rd album, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. So I had heard that song and I was like, huh, I was right. You know what I mean? Like, bleh. And that's just the ignorance and arrogance of it, right? So for a very, very long time, I had this kind of mental impression that, Fountains of Wayne was like, not my band. You know what I mean? So when you told me that your first pick was Fountains of Wayne, I was like, awesome. I can't wait to maybe be proven wrong. You know what I mean? So that's about it. Like I said, Stacy's Mom's the only song I've ever heard by them that I can remember. Perhaps they ended up on a soundtrack of some sort, like, with all those like angsty teen movies. Like,
obviously, if you've seen the movie That Thing You Do, then
I have. You know what? I have not.
Really? Oh,
it's going to change though.
It's a movie where the drummer gets the girl. So,
so clearly it's a fiction. No, it's certainly on my short to-do list. It's there.
It's a wonderful movie about one-hit wonders. I love it. But yeah. Okay, so that's
my history.
There you go. Well, my history is all right. So let's transport back in time to the 1997 era. Now, if you are a younger listener, you it was a very very, very different time. A lot of music was most easily discovered by either hearing it on the radio or catching music videos on various television networks. There was I'm going to take you on a short trip here. There was a song. There was a local channel by us called the Jukebox Network. I don't know if you had this up by you or wherever.
That's new to me.
So the Jukebox, which was later just called The Box, it was basically a music video jukebox channel, and you would call a 1-800 number or a 1-900 number, I think, and you would enter the 3-digit code for the music video that you wanted to play, and then it would play it on this channel. So
actually, I'm sorry to cut you off, but yeah, it was when I fell into it. It was called The Box. By the time I had found it. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it used to be called Jukebox. That's
video jukebox.
Yeah, video jukebox. And so yeah, that's how it would work. You would whatever your local station was, it would play for everybody. You turn to that channel, and there'd usually be a music video playing because people would call in to see the videos that they like all the time. Now, I also watched MTV and VH1 and I love discovering new music, and there was this song that came on once where I was at my friend Joe's house. We were going for some bike ride somewhere, and we stopped to grab Joe, and we were in his room. The song came on, and I really liked it, and I was like, oh boy, I should remember what this is. That's fine, I'll catch it the next time the video comes on. And then the video never came on. I had it stuck in my head. I didn't know what the lyrics were. I just had the very basic melody stuck in my head for years. It was years. I never saw this music video again. And it was a cautionary tale. The next time a song comes on that I really like, I need to remember what it is. Now, a fun side story before we actually get to Fountains of Wayne, because the song wasn't Fountains of Wayne. The song was... there was a computer music program called Impulse Tracker. It was a music tracking program. That's where I used to love writing music on. Basically writing my own video game music type stuff. And one of the earliest things I did on it once I learned how to use the program was I basically composed what I thought I remembered this song sounding like so I could play it for my friends and be like, do you know what this song is? And I played it for everybody that would ever come to my house, and nobody recognized the song at all. One day, I'm a drama geek, and we're in high school, and we go on a trip to New York City to see the Titanic musical, of all things.
Wow,
and
okay.
We stopped at Hard Rock Cafe to have lunch, and I'm at the table with my friend Gina and somebody else. I can't remember who else was at the table, but me and Gina are sitting there eating lunch, and all of a sudden, Gina looks up at me and she's like, Kris, it's your song. I was like, what? And I stopped and listened. Holy shit, they're playing my song. It's the song that I've been trying to find for years. It's playing in this restaurant right now. What the hell are we listening to? So I flagged down the waiter. I'm like, what is this song? What's playing right now? I've been looking for it for years. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I've heard this one before. Look at the screen. And the screen didn't have anything on it. Usually the screen's showing whatever is playing, but for some reason, this one, it wasn't. So I go and I run to find the manager, and I'm like, you got to tell me what song is playing. And by then the song was over. It's like, oh, let me go look at the playlist. So he backs it up and is like, the song's called Yoo-Hoo by Camus. Okay. So he wrote it down for me and I was like, I have the song. I now have the song. It was actually Camus, named after, that Albert Camus.
Yeah.
So I finally had the name of the song, and then I went to a record store in the Shore Mall that doesn't even exist anymore, and the guy had no idea how to find the record. We eventually found it orderable, like we looked through microfiche to find this album.
My God.
And I eventually got the CD, and it was very good, and now I know that song, Yoo-Hoo by Camus. It's a great song.
Yoo-Hoo by Camus.
Yes. Right? Weird. But that's how that happened. Now, Fountains of Wayne, I had a similar situation happen. I tried to take note of the song when I saw the music video, which the music video for the first song that I had heard of them was Radiation Vibe, and the music video was Twilight Zone themed, and it was just the coolest darn thing. And I couldn't remember what the song was, and I was trying to remember it as quick as possible. And the next day in school, I actually went to my friend Gina. I was like, all right, I got this song. I don't want to lose it like that other one. And I hummed her the first few bars, and she was like, that's Radiation Vibe by Fountains of Wayne. I was like, yes! So always remember the songs that you hear in case you can never hear them again. Now we live in the age of the internet, so...
And Spotify, Shazam.
Exactly, Shazam.
I Shazam everything, by the way.
It's a good habit to get into. It's a very good habit to be in.
Yeah.
So that's ever since it was the first. This was their self-titled first album. Was the first CD I ever bought. It was my first album on CD, and it's to this day one of my favorite albums of all time. I recently got it on vinyl for its anniversary release, and I listen to this record a lot. It's just amazing. But let's get started properly here, now that our histories are out of the way. The episode opened with a song called The Summer Place, which is from their final album, Sky Full of Holes. So that's what you heard to kick off the episode. But to really listen properly, we are going to start off with the first song that I ever heard by them, and one of my favorite songs ever written by anyone of all time, Radiation Vibe. I couldn't tell you for sure what this song's really about. All I know is that it makes me very happy, and I think it's an extraordinarily catchy tune. It's the kind of song that I never skip. When it turns on, I just never skip, and it does have a really, really awesome music video attached to it. But let's get started. Here is Radiation Vibe by Fountains of Wayne, one of my absolute favorite songs ever. Enjoy.
Are you alone now? Did you lose the monkey? He gave you backaches, and now you slouch. You didn't mean it. It's just a dummy. Bleeding playboy on your couch.
Radiation Vibe by Fountains of Wayne, one of my absolute favorite songs ever written. I cannot be sad while listening to that tune. It's the we've talked before on our previous show about bass lines, and this isn't a complicated one, but it's the way the bass notes change during the chorus just hit me. That was what really connected me to this song, when it's a radiation vibe, I'm grooving on. When the way the bass notes change during that exact riff just hit me right in the heart. It's like, oh my, it's joy. It's joy. And it's don't it make you want to get some sun? And it's just happiness incarnate. It's such a weird tune with all the like things, whatever that noise is that's going through most of the verses, but God, the way everything connects together, and it just makes me so happy. So talk to me, Matt.
So you're saying the chicka chicka, that's basically like a palm muted stroke, not stroke, like a palm muting riff with it sounds like a wah or a flange of some kind, maybe a combination of the two.
Yeah, in the second verse, it's a wah pedal. In the beginning of the song, it's one thing, and then in the second verse, they add the wah pedal to it. And I know this because I saw them do it live, but I don't know what the actual sound is. The first one sounds about right what you're talking about. I'm listening to it. It's basically actually, it might be some kind of ring modulator, but that's not what we're here for. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is a really great song, and when they got to the shine on, it ticked something in the back of the deep recesses of my brain, and I remember this song. I remember that specific part. Shine on, shine on, shine. Yeah, this was their first radio hit, their first single. Like it didn't get as big as Stacy's Mom, obviously, but this song's been out there.
Of course. No, this must have been what I heard way back when or something, because it's there in the recesses of my brain. This is really good. This is a really great piece of music. I really appreciate his voice, actually. Like the ending where he's holding that note, he's got that like kind of grunge, gravelly. I don't know how to call it. Like, as we get deeper into the episodes and stuff, and I bring around some of the bands that I really vibe with, I kind of have similar, frontmen and stuff. This is a really great piece of music. I can totally see like this kind of has the Kris imprint on it.
Right?
Like
it's definitely me.
All the earmarks of like Kris will like this. And I don't say that negatively. I'm smiling ear to ear while I say that.
A lot of major chords, a lot of happy,
Right, yeah, right. You and I have been friends now for quite a while. We, and not just as co-hosts and a surface level friendship. We talk, when we do get together, we talk about deeper things and stuff like that. So I like to believe that you and I have, a good bond. So I say that this has the ear markings of Kris in an absolutely loving sort of way. Yeah, man. I mean, the mix is great. Right, just from an engineer's point of view, the mix is great. I think it's, the vocals or the lyrics and the vocals sit right on top. Because I feel like for this kind of music, that's really more the focal point. Fountains of Wayne never struck me as a band that was maybe perhaps like guitars first. Like sometimes you think of or I should say, I'm thinking of contemporaries like Nirvana and stuff, and they kind of, I don't want to say they buried Kurt's vocals, but his vocals were not always front and center. Mm-hmm. I think more they let more like the drums and the guitars do kind of the talking, things like that, so to speak. So certainly like everything that's on quote unquote tape is intentional. So having the vocals sit on top, it's nice and clean and crisp. It's a feel-good vibe, as you pointed out. Apparently, it's a radiation vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I got, like, from the opening lyrics, I kind of got the idea that maybe, and I say this about all the songs from the 90s, maybe it was about heroin. I don't know. When in doubt, it's about heroin. But that aside, I mean, this is great. I'm I like this. And again, like I said, it kind of pings a little something in the back of my brain that I remember it. But of course, like I said before, at the time, I wasn't interested in this. You know what I mean? I didn't want. This is too happy for me. Even though the lyrics were probably very dark, and I probably would have liked it if I'd given it a chance. But I digress.
All right. Well, I'm glad you liked it. Let's move on to the next track, which is heartbreakingly the only other track off of their self-titled album. It was so hard for me to pick 10 songs from this band, especially because I like pretty much every song on every record. I didn't wind up going with anything off of the B-Sides album, which is such a shame because that's got so many great songs on it. But I couldn't skip this one. This is the song that comes after Radiation Vibe. So Radiation Vibe is not just their first single. It's the first song on their first record. And then I remember buying the record. The good times of like you hear a single and then you get the album and you're like, all right, what's the rest of their stuff like?
Wow.
And that's always such a fun exploration of like, all right, is it just this one song I like, or is it all going to go downhill from here?
We have such different experiences, I swear. To your point, right? I made it a rule because I feel like I had been burnt a handful of times where I was like, that single's great, I want this record. And I would go get it, and I would listen, and I'd be like, this stinks. This whole record stinks, right? And then I adopted 3 singles. If they're good, I'll buy the record. And then the crazy part was I wouldn't listen to the record. It took me like 10, 15 years later to when like I matured enough to kind of go, oh, everything on the radio stinks. Let me look through my back catalog and start really listening to albums through and through for me to really listen to all this stuff that I had purchased. I don't know who let me, make these decisions, but they really need to have a stern talking to or something.
Oh man, we would all go to Best Buy to get our CDs together, and like we would go to Best Buy and then we would listen to them on the way home and just be like, all right, let's see what this band has to offer. Let's see how this goes. And this one in particular this is one of those big reliefs for me because I loved Radiation Vibe so very much. And then this is called Sink to the Bottom. This is the second song on the album, and I believe the second single they released off this album too. And it's so flippin' good. It is not a complicated song. It is just pure catchiness and awesomeness. I love it to death. So here is off their self-titled first album, Sink to the Bottom. Enjoy.
I wanna sink to the bottom with you. I wanna sink to the bottom with you. The ocean is big and blue. I just wanna sink to the bottom with you. Cars on the highway, planes in the air. Everyone else is going somewhere, but I'm going nowhere. Getting there soon. I might as well just sink down with you. I wanna sink to the bottom with you. I wanna sink to the bottom with
Bottom by Fountains of Wayne. Judging by your initial reaction, I take it you've heard this before.
Yep. Yeah, I have. I mean, it's kind of hard to forget, lyrics only. I want to sing to the bottom with you. And then, of course, the repetitive nature of them. Yeah, this instantaneously took me back to junior, senior year of high school. I don't know that I remember the video, but I feel like it's impressed somewhere in my brain.
They were doing ice fishing in a sewer hole in New York was what the video was.
I definitely don't remember that. Let me see. I had a friend from my teens into my 20s. He always had cable, and I know I didn't until I was like almost 30. So we would just, when MTV did play videos, we would just leave MTV on all day. And we'd hang out and, do other things and, BS and whatnot. But MTV was always on, so I'm 100% positive, that's where I caught this. And it's another great track. I mean, some of my favorite parts of this are like the ending where it's the chorus, I want to sing to the bottom with you. But then there's the underneath of like the chorus of it being, syncopated. So it's I want to sink to the bottom with you, and then sink to the bottom with you. Right. Yeah. Right. It's like, taking some of the stuff that's come before it, musically speaking, and just applying it. It's music is really at this point just recycled of what you heard before and your influences. Yeah. I mean, it's a really good track.
It's such a simple song. There's just not much to it, but it's so effective, and that's part of one of the things that I've always been, I guess, a little not less than confident about it in my musical taste, is that I like really simple songs. It doesn't have to be complicated for it to be good,
right?
And that is a trap that a lot of people I've been in bands with have fallen into, is like writing consistently more and more complex music at the expense of writing just sometimes something that's simple but very effective. And I've always been a very big fan of bands that can rein in the complexity aspect of it instead of writing things that are complicated for the sake of being complicated, just writing the songs that feel good. And Cars on the Highway, Planes in the Air, like it's elementary level.
That's where they are
writing right there, but it just doesn't matter. It's so fun to listen to. And I love the simple harmonies. That was another part of Radiation Vibe. I forgot to mention the harmonies during the chorus really, really work for me. And I'm always a big fan of harmonizing in bands. I love it when bands get really good vocal harmonies going. Is just good times. So,
absolutely. I agree with you. Everything you just said, right? Like simplicity. Sometimes it doesn't need to be overly complex, Dragon Force. I mean, you can you could just write, a simple song that just catches people's attention, Dream Theater, and just like really, just hit them in the feels, Rush. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm we'll get to them eventually, but I'm a big fan of early Nine Inch Nails. My wife is a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. I love early Nine Inch Nails stuff, and like the song that whenever somebody mentions the band Nine Inch Nails, the first song that comes to my head is Head Like a Hole. And that's not a complicated song.
No.
It just freaking works.
Yes.
Right? Like it just works. Like it's the same 4 lines said over and over again during that chorus, and every single time it freaking works. And that I love that kind of music. So
sure. It's you know why? Because it gets stuck in your head so quick. You learn the lyrics in the matter of a listen or two, and you're like, "Yep, got it. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to sing along."
Sometimes I really like it as far as like learning the complexities of things, and the more you listen to it, the more you learn about it. But there's also something to be said for just like, I understand this song now. I can just enjoy it.
Yes,
I like that a lot about Fountains of Wayne. Not that they don't have their complicated pieces too, but most of what we're going to listen to today is just the stuff that I felt summed up the band. So Moving on to our next track, we're on to their second album, which is called Utopia Parkway. This album I had kind of a weird love-hate relationship with when it first came out because, you know, their first album is still one of my favorite albums ever, so this is what came next, and I thought it was very good, but I didn't love it. I have since learned to absolutely love this album. In fact, I made a comment on it. A couple of my friends are big Fountains of Wayne fans, too, and I made a comment that I had gotten this on vinyl recently and that it was probably my least favorite album of theirs, and they're like, what, are you crazy? This album's amazing. And I was like, okay, it's very good, but, like, even just saying it's my least... I love all of their albums. Like, their other albums are all, like, amazing. So, like, saying this is my least favorite is like saying it's my least favorite Marvel movie. I love them all. But going back and listening to this one now, I have such more of appreciation for it. And it really is an astonishing album, top to bottom. The two tracks I picked from this, again, were really hard. The first one is a little bit is far more stylistically in line with their first album, and the second one off of this is very indicative of the time that this album came out. So the first track is another somewhat goofy tune, because there's been a slightly goofy twang to everything thus far, which is not always their MO, but this is a very fun song. It's called Red Dragon Tattoo, and it's about somebody getting a tattoo to impress a girl, at least as far as I can tell. And I just love it. And it's somebody who should not be getting a tattoo.
Of course, it always is.
This is a wonderful song. So here it is, Red Dragon Tattoo by Fountains of Wayne off of Utopia Parkway. Enjoy.
Out when I can't see straight, and what an island
the congratulatory applause for him being brave enough with his photo of Easy Rider to get his Red Dragon tattoo. I know I talk a lot about being a melody guy, but I really like the lyrics in this one. They're so clever. I'm fit to be died. Am I fit to have you? Like, come on. It's just so great. Oh, I love this track.
It's another one in this. So the general vibe I'm getting so far is fairly easygoing. Kind of poppy, definitely upbeat, a bright, sound. But I think, like the time that this was made, the lyrical content is a little different from the shiny veneer of the overall package, which is always fun, personally. Mm-hmm. We used to joke, me and my friend, about punk bands in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was West Coast punk, the sound was happy, but the lyrics were dark. And then East Coast punk, the sound was dark, but the lyrics were happy, But at any rate, this is good. I like any shout out to a place I live near. So the N train to Coney Island is pretty close to my heart because where I live at the first or last, depending on how you look at it, stop at the D train, which terminates in Coney Island as well. So, I can envision taking that ride to Coney Island to get it tattooed and impress some girl if I was like 17. I get it, man. I'm with you. I really, really like the keyboard showing up. Oh, kind of that little I don't know if it's a pre-chorus part or what have you, where it just kind of one note strikes and then later it comes back as like the synthy solo lead for a moment. That was cool. Like, I like little unexpected things like that. The kind of ad lib of the band clapping,
I love a good clap in a song. Is
yes,
always, it adds so much.
There's such a level of depth to it, and it's so simple. You get like four guys in a room clapping at this quote unquote same time. It's not really the same time, and you get that non-quantized, human feeling, and it gives an extra level of oomph to the piece of music. It's fantastic. And then of course they stuck around to pat themselves on the back of the end with the clapping. So I appreciate a bit of tongue in cheek. I appreciate bands that don't take themselves so seriously. I think at some point one of the bands or one of the musicians I'm gonna bring around is a very talented musician. Like, the music is serious, but the lyrical content is just absolutely not. So, we'll get to see a little of that too, and my appreciation of it. But this was another good track.
Nice. Yeah, I really do like so many of the lyrics. Obviously, it's a catchy tune. So this album starts off with a track called Utopia Parkway, which is very slow, and it was such a big change from the way the first album kicked off with Radiation Vibe that I was kind of let down. But then this song follows it up, and I was like, all right, this is what I'm talking about. And then the third track is Denise, which was their first single off of this album, which is also a very good song. Didn't quite make my cut for the episode, but it's a very good song. And I mean, I love the rhyme of with the money I saved gonna get me engraved.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, did he say engraved? And then that brought up all kinds of trends from the late 90s, early 2000s of being branded and having implants put under your skin. And I'm like, man, I went somewhere.
Yeah,
I really went somewhere.
All right, so the second song I picked off of this one was when I first heard this album. This is the one that stuck out to me as my favorite song. It's probably the most I don't know, I guess emo of all of the songs on the track on the album, but it's indicative of another aspect of this band, and I just couldn't skip this one. Again, it was hard to pick because there's so many good songs in this album, but this song's called Troubled Times, and musically speaking, you're going to hear a lot of things that are very, very of this time. Like, this is mid-90s, so you got like drum samples and things happening, but I think it's a very sweet song about two people that just can't get their shit together. Like, they clearly like one another, but they just don't match up at the same time.
Right.
And well, I think it's an extremely catchy song, and it fills me with feelings every time that I hear it. So, I've often referred to the music I like as wuss rock. So,
No.
I guess I don't know. Take that for what you will. I unabashedly love this song, and I'm just gonna stand here and be like, yes, I do absolutely love this song. It is super catchy. It's wonderful. It is a little corny, but I don't care. This is Troubled Times by Fountains of Wayne. Enjoy.
When you think you found something worth holding on to, were you reaching for attention, hoping she would notice you collecting bottles and thrown away cans like she was returnable, one day would refill your hands? How she loved you, all you imagine fits so well into your plans. Maybe one day soon it'll all come out, how you dream about each other sometimes, with a memory of how you once gave up, but you made it through the troubled times. Piling away every hour in your room, rolling with emotion, wait until it's opportune, sitting there watching time fly past you. Why do tomorrow what you could never do? How she loved you, all you imagine, all the shit you put her through. Maybe one day soon it'll all come out, how you dream about each other sometimes, with a memory of how you once gave up, but you made it through the troubled times. And it takes a lot of her to ask how she is doing. Start with a weak foundation, you will end in ruins. The way the days and hours pass, you never understand, falling like rain through your hands. Maybe one day soon it'll all come out, how you dream about each other sometimes, with a memory of how you once gave up, but you made it through the troubled times. One day soon it'll all come out, how you dream about each other sometimes, with a memory of how you once gave up, but you made it through the troubled times.
That was Troubled Times by Fountains of Wayne, and that song teleports me to a very specific time in my life. I think the reason I fell for this song so thoroughly was that it just seemed like it was about me. I was such a goober in high school. I fell in love with a different girl every week, and I just was obsessed with being in love. And this was such a hopeful take on that kind of situation of somebody who's just like, I'm totally nuts about this girl, and wouldn't it be great if it turned out she loved me too, kind of a thing. And the track is, I think the word I'm looking for is overproduced. I think that the core of it is such a beautiful melody, such a pretty piece of music, but it's got a lot of it's got a lot of stuff going on, but towards the end of the song, when it's kind of repeating the chorus, and the it's like an organ or something is coming in and playing all these other kind of complementary notes, it gets very, very full, and it's a lot of things happening at once that are all coming together very, very beautifully. And this song just gets me right in the heartstrings every time. So there. That's what I had to say about that one.
So this is the song that I thought Fountains of Wayne. In my head, a band named Fountains of Wayne, this is what they sounded like. You know what I mean? Like, every track was just like this. That's what I thought. And so, you know, I'm happy to report that they don't. But that being said, yeah, I mean, the message of the song is clear. I can put myself in your shoes too. I think every one of us had that, you know, your hormones are kicking in, hair's appearing in places it wasn't before. You know what I mean? Your body feels weird. You're just looking in the mirror every day and you are different, you know, than the night before. And, you know, the girls are changing and everything's, you know, you're transitioning into that part of your life, right? And I can certainly tell you in high school that, you know, I think by like sophomore year, I was like in love with every single, you know, girl I saw, and the next one was prettier than the last, and blah, blah, blah. And I can certainly listen to these lyrics and say, you know, I've been kind of in a bad relationship or a bad situation with someone, and, you know, you really want to make it work. And, you know, I can hear the hope in it, you know, the lyrics and stuff. And I could absolutely sit there too and say like, that song was written for me. You know what I mean? But I think it's a generic human thing. I think we all go through bad times. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to my original point, which is why I have such an emotional connection to music. Like, we all go through, you know, highs and lows, and there's something out there for everyone musically, in my opinion. Just the way some people, like, you know, I watch The Office for the 12th time. It's my comfort show, you know. Mm-hmm. But this is certainly that song where I can absolutely sit there and go, yeah, you know, if I heard this back then, maybe, or I should say, if I gave this the time of day back then, you know, the message would be clear. Maybe the music wouldn't have rang any bells for me per se at the time. Mm-hmm. But now, you know, definitely now. I understand what you're saying. It's a little overproduced. It is indicative of some of the stuff at the time, because I feel like this gives me like Toad the Wet Sprocket vibes.
Oh yeah, okay.
And kind of other bands of that I don't know, that tribe, that caliber, whatever you want to call it. And you know, not to insult anyone there, just kind of pointing that out, like, hey, that's, you know, it's got a very reminiscent vibe of some of like the slower, more melancholy stuff that may have been coming out at the time. It's good. I will say it's not necessarily my favorite so far, and I don't know, maybe if it came on the radio or in a playlist or something, I might skip it, because I feel like some songs that are melancholy that, I don't know, hit the core a little too on the nose. You know, like if I'm in a good mood and I'm like, you know, bopping around, whatever, I don't know, this might actually take me down and be like, huh. And now the rest of my day is like, damn, I shouldn't have listened to that song. It's really brought me down, you know. But I mean, otherwise, again, it's a good song. The lyrics are, you know, I appreciate his writing, or their writing, I should say. It's good stuff.
Awesome. I'm glad you didn't hate it.
I don't know that I'm like, truth be told, I don't know that there's anything out there that I'm gonna outright go, I hate it. Like and like hate it. I think there's two songs that have been written that I would love to remove from the catalog of music, but I won't go into that. Maybe down the line we'll talk about that. We'll have an episode of songs we hate, and we'll torture ourselves by putting them on and for your enjoyment.
That sounds like a fun episode. All right,
you say fun, I say awful. Whatever.
We've got a lot of ground to cover here, so let's keep this moving. This is the first track. Another one. This whole album. This is the album that has Stacy's mom on it, and when I tell you that this album is full of just top tier music, it was really hard to choose from. This track, I waffled around on a bit. I eventually landed on it because There's some really good lyrics in this song, and it's just it shows how the band had matured to this point. So this is their third album, called Welcome Interstate Managers, and this track is called No Better Place, and it absolutely rules. So enjoy.
Poker face, or was someone run over by a train? You're minding your own business, but you're begging for forgiveness just the same. And it's running back and forth inside your mind, just how that town defined you, dressed you up, painted on your face. Now you're leaving New York for no better place. You're waking, trying not to be wrapped around your pillow like a prawn, and the night time's wrapped around you will be until it drops you on the dawn. From the C train to the shiny tower, kicked around till happy hour found you, where you can drink that smirk right off your face. Now you're leaving New York for no better place. Here's your reflection in a building uptown, a ghost inside some Madison Avenue display, like water under bridges. You're slowly passing by, so you sail between the rooftops and the sky. And it may be the whiskey talking, but the whiskey says I miss you every day. So I taxi to an all-night party, park me in the corner in an old chair, sip my drink and stare out into space. Now you're leaving New York for no better place. Now you're leaving New York for no better place.
That was No Better Place, off of Welcome Interstate Managers by Fountains of Wayne. And the thing, the spot in this song that convinced me to add it to this list for this episode was the lyric, "It might be the whiskey talking, but the whiskey says I miss you every day." I love that freaking line so much. I think that's such an interesting tune. It's so... At this point, it's so out of the realm of their like typical catchy stuff. Like when I bought this record because it was the new Fountains of Wayne, and Stacy's Mom was this catchy song. Like as a rock song, it's just so far removed from that level of pop catchiness, but it still really resonated with me. I think it's got a really cool hook to it, and I think it's an awesome song. And I think James Iha from Smashing Pumpkins was involved in this song in some way, but I'm not 100% positive on that.
Oh, all right. Yeah, this is a little outside of kind of what I've heard so far. But I think that's a good thing. I think all bands should really evolve. Some bands, in my opinion, just don't have it in them. Like, they do one thing really well, and they just kind of, ride it till the wheels fall off. And that works for some. And then I think bands like this, I think they should be allowed to evolve and kind of, get a little weird or do something a little left of center and stuff like that. This is super catchy too. I think it's actually the guitar playing, that the guitar licks and stuff that are pretty mesmerizing in a way, and that's like the only word that I could think of.
That's a very good word for this song, is mesmerizing.
Yeah. A lot of complimentary stuff. The lyrical melody, the pitch of his voice, they complement the guitars, and the guitars vice versa. It's good. And yeah, that line about it might be the whiskey talking, come on. Come on. You're lying to yourself if you disagree with us. That's a good line. That's a really good line.
That's a solid lyric right there.
Yeah. How many times have you drunk texted or dialed or an ex or something? Like, come on now. So yeah, it's good. I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Awesome. All right, so this next track is gonna take things down a few notches. It's a bit of a slower tune. Not really slower, just a much prettier song. This is it's called Valley Winter Song, and I believe this made an appearance on the show Scrubs. In fact, a couple of Fountains of Wayne songs did make an appearance on Scrubs. This is just a really well written, pretty song. So it kind of shows off this aspect of what Fountains of Wayne was capable of. I think it does so with gusto. So here's Valley Winter Song from Welcome Interstate Managers. Enjoy.
Take it so bad. You know the summer's coming soon. Though the interstate is choking under salt and dirty sand, and it seems the sun is hiding from the moon. Your daddy told you when you were a girl the kind of things that come to those who wait. So give it a rest, girl. Take a deep breath, girl, and meet me at the Bay State tonight. And the snow is coming down on our New England town, and it's been falling all day long. What else is new? What could I do? I wrote a Valley Winter song to play for you. In late December can drag a man down. You feel it deep in your gut. Short days and afternoons spent pottering around in a dark house with the windows painted shut. Remember New York staring outside as reckless winter made its way from Staten Island to the Upper West Side, widen out our streets along the way. And the snow is coming down on our New England town, and it's been falling all day long. wrote for you.
Good song. It's very, very pretty, very low energy, just a really cool, chill song that I think just has some really nice lyrics, and it's just a very pretty piece of music. And I think of all the tracks that they have done like this kind of sums it up. I feel like this one sums it up best. Fountains of Wayne has a couple of, in their later albums, a couple of just straight up country songs. And I am not a fan of country. Mm-hmm. This kind of leans into a little bit of that sensibility, and I think pulls it off nicely. And what's crazy, I didn't want to include either of those songs because as much as I like them, they're not of my upper pantheon of things that I think you should really listen to when getting to know this band. But even the country songs that they did, I think, are very good. So go figure. But yeah, that's Valley Winter Song. I like this. It has a very cold, wintry feeling to it, and I think it's very successful.
Yeah, I think they nailed that one on the head. I like in the chorus they kind of do like the deep toms and the what do you call it? Like a tambourine almost, just to kind of accentuate that fourth note. It's cool. I like the idea, like, you know, they're a New Jersey band and they sing about New York sometimes, you know, whether it's intentional or it just fits the rhyme scheme. So I appreciate that, you know.
They were definitely New Yorkers. I mean, obviously the band was named after the Jersey, but I believe they were New York based.
Oh, okay. Well, then, you know, even more to it then, right? Yeah, the lyrical melodies are very interesting. I find sometimes I pay more attention to that, or, you know, that's what I gravitate towards first, and then as you learn the lyrics come into play. But the melodies are nice and hooky, you know. They like I don't remember the lyrics of what we just heard, but my brain is still kind of humming the melody.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
All right. Well, I could not possibly do Welcome Interstate Managers and not play this song, because this is another one of just my favorite songs ever. It's another pretty simple one. It's extremely catchy. It's just a wonderful song about a girl named Julie and how she makes this guy's life better. At least, again, this is my guess based on the lyrics. I think it's pretty straightforward, but, you know, who knows? This is Hey Julie by Fountains of Wayne, and it's just a masterpiece. Enjoy.
Working all day for a mean little man with a clip-on tie and a rub-on tan. He's got me running around the office like a dog around a track. But when I get back home, you're always there to rub my back. Hey Julie, look what they're doing to me, trying to trip me up, trying to wear me down. Julie, I swear it's so hard to bear it, and I'd never make it through without you around. No, I'd never make it through without you around. Hours on the phone making pointless calls. I got a desk full of paper that means nothing at all. Sometimes I catch myself staring into space, counting down the hours till I get to see your face. Hey Julie, look what they're doing to me, trying to trip me up, trying to wear me down. Julie, I swear it's so hard to bear it, and I'd never make it through without you around. No, I'd never make it through without you around. How did it come to be that you and I must be far away from each other every day? Why must I spend my time filling up my mind with facts and figures that never add up anyway? They never add up anyway. With a bad toupee and a soup-stained tie, he's got me running around the office like a gerbil on a wheel. He can tell me what to do, but he can't tell me what to feel. Hey Julie, look what they're doing to me, trying to trip me up, trying to wear me down. Julie, I swear it's so hard to bear it, and I'd never make it through without you around. No, I'd never make it through without you around. No, I'd never make it through without you around.
That was Hey Julie by Fountains of Wayne, and I just think that's one of the most perfect songs ever written. It's simple, it's to the point, it's effortless. Like, everything about that song feels so effortless, and it seems to come from just such a place of love. I just think it's perfect. There's just not a darn thing I'd change about it. It's wonderful.
It's a super sweet song, and it's really simple. There's not a ton going on, so it's not, this wall of sound or whatever. The lyrics are, like, really sweet, but at the same time, like, you get the idea that he hates his job and he hates his boss, and that dominates his life, and the only bright point in it is this girl named Julie. And it's so perfectly put together, right? Like, the soup-stained tie line made me laugh, and pile of papers that mean nothing. Like, I think one thing I could say about this is some of the songs that we've listened to so far, especially the ones that really hit home, I think they hit home is explicitly, thank you, because we've all been there. We've all had that crap job. We're just waiting for a punch out so we can go do the thing that makes us happy, whether it's, in this case, see this woman, or just get up with friends and grab some drinks or something, whatever it is. I think we've all been there. And that's, to me, that's one of the it factors I think that some bands have more over than others, is you can sit there and go, yeah, I've definitely been there. At least for me. Like, as I said before, I'm very emotionally attached to a lot of music, or just music in general, and I think that's one of the reasons why, is because I can sit here and say, yeah, I've definitely been there. I definitely feel what this guy's singing about. Or girl,
yeah, I feel I'm also very emotionally invested in music. I mean, geez, even just listening to this music today, I've been, eyes closed, kind of tearing up from time to time, and just bouncing up and down in my chair. Like, I love this stuff. This song is just musical perfection for me. It's so effortlessly fun and full of hope, and it sums up for me the feeling of, like, well, this aspect of my life sucks, but it's okay because I have this aspect of my life, and that aspect is you, and that's wonderful. I just think it's just a sweet sentiment, and I love it to death. But let us continue. This is so we listened to Troubled Times earlier, and I never really made the connection between how different the overall message of these two songs are. This one is off of their penultimate album, Traffic and Weather, and this song is called Someone to Love. This was their first single off that one, so you may have heard this one before. I think it's a really, really catchy song, but it's kind of about two people who clearly would be good for each other if they were able to connect, but they aren't. So it's got kind of a sad undertone, but it's a really catchy tune that's hard not to move to. Like, it's got a really good beat to it. So this is Someone to Love by Fountains of Wayne. Enjoy.
Seth Shapiro got his law degree. He moved to Brooklyn from Schenectady, 93. Got some clients in the food industry. He says it's not the money, it's the recipes. He calls his mom, says he's doing fine. She's got somebody on the other line. Puts Coldplay on, pours a glass of wine, curls up with a book about organized crime. When it's late and it's hot, and the date with the late show's all that you've got. Don't give out, don't give up. One of these nights you might find someone to love. Someone to love. Someone to love. Someone to love. Beth McKenzie got the job of her dreams, retouching photos for a magazine aimed at teens. It's Thursday night, she should be out on the scene, but she's sitting at home watching The King of Queens. There's something wrong that she can't describe. She takes her contacts out of her eyes, sets the alarm for 6:45, so she can get a little exercise. When it's late and it's hot, and an hour in the shower is the best that you got. Don't give out, don't give up. One of these nights you might find someone to love. Someone to love. Someone to love. Someone to love. And you're not the only one who's lonely. And you're not the only one who's lonely. Seth Shapiro is trying in vain to hail a taxi in the morning in the pouring rain. Beth McKenzie sees one just up ahead. She cuts in front of him and leaves him for dead.
Someone to love. I love that song, man. That song just gets me. It's got such a good sense of energy to it, but it's like so tragic. You got these two people who are clearly perfect together, and they almost meet by one stealing a cab from the other, and that's the end of the story. Like it's so innately tragic, but God, so many parts of that song, like, kind of, they just remind me of being alone, and like how, you know, when an hour in a shower is the best that you got, you know, that's the best part. That's the best thing you have for yourself right now, is some extra time in the shower. Like so much of this song is very effective, but it's also just a really, really good driving song, like that, really high energy and fun to listen to, even if it is ultimately kind of sad.
Yeah, there's almost like a disco-y beat to it. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, me too. Very much.
Sometimes I feel like it has no place in rock music, and then it shows up, and I'm like, this is exactly why it should be here.
Yep, when used properly, it's very effective.
Yeah, it's that chorus part that the you know, it's really good. So I think that lends itself to its driving energy. To your point, And, to the emotional point of things, like, yeah, certainly I can remember, those long, lonely nights where you're like, man, I just wish I had someone to hang out with. Doesn't even have to be a girl, just like someone to hang out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's those things, but I like that they've done that. They have that one track where it's like two people who can't get their ish together, maybe shouldn't be together, and then here's the converse, which is these two people that are perfect for each other, and they just can't seem to be in the same place at the same time. It's good. It's just good storytelling.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good storytelling set against really good music.
Yeah, I love this. Lyrics aside, I just really love this tune. I mean, the freaking chorus is "oh yeah" over and over again, like
Yeah.
but it's so catchy. This was the tour for this album was the one time I saw Fountains of Wayne live. I really wanted to see them live way back in the day, and I had to work that night, and I was going to call out, and then I didn't, and my friends all went to go see Fountains of Wayne, and I stayed at work, and I was very sad, and I shouldn't have. I should have gone to go see Fountains of Wayne with my friends, because that would have been more important than staying at my job, but what are you going to do? This time I did get to see them, and I saw them play this song, and they were really, really good. I love this band, but...
That's awesome.
All right, so we've got 2 songs left. The next song is one I picked just for you, Matt, because I know you grew up in the New York area.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you know... so for anyone who's not from this area, the names Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons, they were pretty legendary news anchors, and this song is it's a masterpiece. It is a theoretical... I'm not going to say any more. I just want you to experience it. It is a theoretical exchange between Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons. And it's wonderful. I also lived in New York around the time when this came out, and I could not stop laughing at this song. It's freaking wonderful. So this is Traffic and Weather by Fountains of Wayne. Enjoy.
Channel 6 news team, breaking story about a get-rich-quick scheme. One anchor turns and faces the other, says it's time that I made you my lover. Ooh, we belong together, like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather. Ooh, we belong together, like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather. Like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather. Every 20 we got business reports. We're gonna take a break and then we're right back with sports. Hey, Dan, I like those shorts. I've never seen them before. I'd like them even more. Laying on my bedroom floor. Don't run away, baby, hear what I say. You know I sit here reading to you day after day. Don't be scared, sit back down in your chair. All I wanna do is just stroke your hair. Ooh, we belong together, like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather. Ooh, we belong together, like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather, like traffic and weather. Chuck Scarborough turns to Sue Simmons, says, sugar, you don't know what you're missing. Ooh, we belong
That is such a funny song. It's so fantastic. So while I'm listening to it, I'm looking up pictures of Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons because I'm, in my head, I think I have them in my head. I haven't watched the news since I was like a teenager, right? Let alone like that time of day television. And so I'm looking at these, and there's this great photo. It's this great photo of like, them probably in their 20s or 30s. It's like a black and white headshot, and Chuck Scarborough's real serious, Mm-hmm. And then Sue Simmons is next to him, but it's her profile, and she's like kind of kissing his ear or something. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, it's there. It's right there. It's happening. This wasn't fake. It was real. What a fantastic song.
I love the idea of just dropping. I like those shorts. I've never seen them before. I'd like them even more laying on my bedroom floor.
Right,
it's
exactly.
So funny. I love it.
And I was glancing around her Wikipedia real quick, Sue Simmons, and she got caught live on air cursing.
Yeah.
But reading what she said and why she said it, and then in the context of the song, I'm like, again, I don't think they're lying. I think it really happened, guys. If not, you're making a strong case that it did. That was good. That was really good. I really, really appreciated that. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I love that song. I mean, it's just a cool song to begin with, but like the local air of local network news, it just brings it up a notch. I dig that song a lot. All right, so the last song we're going to listen to is I guess musically a pretty similar song, which I kind of didn't want to do, but also I really wanted Traffic and Weather on there. And I couldn't not put this song on here because this is probably one of Karen's favorite songs. My wife, Karen, would probably kill me if I didn't include this song in the list. This is another very amusing song, which is, it's all in the name. The song's called Strapped for Cash. So enjoy.
Checking out the women on Spanish television. Got a call from Paul who was just let out of prison. He said, hey listen, there's something I'm missing. I said I'm on it, honest, it's on its way. You're gonna get your money in a couple of days, okay? I'm just a little strapped for cash. Take it easy baby, cut me some slack. I said I'm just a little strapped for cash. Very temporary, don't you worry about that, strapped for cash. So I headed out west to invest in the races. All the goddamn horses kept falling on their faces. Didn't feel much better at the Taj Mahal. Chalk it up to bad luck and free alcohol. And now I'm laying low, you know I'm trying to stall, but I don't know how much longer I can dodge the calls saying I'm just a little strapped for cash. Don't you know I wouldn't do you like that? I'm just a little strapped for cash. Give me a minute, you know you'll get it back. Come on. Strapped for cash. Strapped for cash. 6 bodybuilders pulled up in a Pinto. Next thing I know, they're coming through the window. Hate to keep you waiting, I know times are hard. Now would you prefer a Visa or a MasterCard? Because I'm just a little strapped for cash. Take a seat,
That's Strap Cash. I like that one.
I gotta say, actually, after listening to those 2 tracks back to back, I really like kind of that direction.
Yeah, I
for
think
them.
you'd really like Traffic and Weather as an album. I think of all the albums that they released, that's probably the one that I think you would like the most.
Well, that first one, with those first singles were, I like that styling too. I feel like, it's tough when a band evolves, right? Because I hate to say things like you had mentioned it before with you and your wife about Nine Inch Nails, right? I'm a Nine Inch Nails fan too, and I have an interesting idea for an episode. But like I like a lot of the earlier stuff, and I almost feel like that makes me feel real like hipsterish. I like them when they were cool. No, just the direction. The artist gets older.
Yeah.
And, all things happen and influences and stuff. And, they move with it, right? Creating art is a very fluid thing. And, some people let it takes them where it takes them. And others want to stay, no, this got me to the dance. I'm going to keep doing it. So that being said, I like that first stuff, like that the first few tracks that came off that first record, and then these last 2 tracks I definitely dig too. There's a great sound to it. It reminds me a lot of like kind of the easier listening of the 80s. There's a couple bands that come to mind, but of course now I can't think of their names. Like who did Money for Nothing?
Dire Straits.
Dire Straits, thank you. There's a very definite Dire Straits vibe there, and like in a great in like the greatest possible way.
Yeah.
I love Dire Straits. I think they were a great band, and these 2 tracks were really, really good.
Nice. I'm really glad you liked them. I love those songs too, for different reasons. But they're both pretty funny. The whole just being strapped for cash and people coming after you for money is definitely something I can identify with.
Yeah, and I want to say that too. Lyrical content has been really great, honestly. Like, as you mentioned before, like they kind of write some simple tunes, and nothing wrong with that. And even the lyrical content's fairly simple, but it's so like dense in the way that it can evoke the idea. Like 6 bodybuilders pull up in a Pinto,
Yeah, I like that.
and now they're coming through my window. Like, it's brilliant. I see it. Right, I see like the slack ass, hanging on the couch, just doing nothing. All of a sudden, these dudes just pile in through his window, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go, man." Like it's. I like that though. I like being like music itself is a journey, but I love that it can take it to the next level, like in my head, and paint that picture of the guy getting out of prison and be like, "Hey, man, I'm low, you owe me," and he's like, "Yeah, no, I sent it. Check's in the mail." So I really appreciate that about this band. The lyrical content definitely makes for good storytelling, and I digs it. I digs it a lot.
Fantastic. Well, I hate to end it there, but those are my 10 tracks, and I pulled a bit of a cheat, kind of doing the old in the intro and outro. They have one more album that we haven't hit any music off of besides the song from the intro, The Summer Place, and the last bonus track that we're going to play you out on is called Cemetery Guns, which is it's the last song off their last album, and it's kind of a sad tune, but I think it makes a really good ending. It's a really nice last track for an album, which is why I wanted to put it there. I just didn't want anyone to think that their last album, Sky Full of Holes, was somehow lesser than the rest of their work because I didn't include it today. It is absolutely not. Sky Full of Holes is a freaking wonderful album. It is so very good. It does a lot of things that their previous albums also did, and that as far as showing a representation of a band, I felt those other tracks did those specific kinds of tunes a little bit more justice, I guess, in an individual sense. But if you're going to listen to this band, don't skip their last album. Sky Full of Holes is wonderful and arguably some of their best work overall. So yeah, that's Fountains of Wayne, and that is our show. Join us next time for Matt's first pick. Matt, what are we going to be listening to next month?
So when you and I talked about doing the show, you had said, I want to do Fountains of Wayne, which we've done. And by the way, I am a Fountains of Wayne fan.
Yay! I'm so happy to hear that.
I appreciate that I can sit back and go, yeah, I was a very, musically closed-minded, angsty teenager, and now I am not that person. So that being said, we're going to revisit that closed-minded, angsty teenager. So you had said Fountains of Wayne pretty much represents you, right? Like,
it's if I could distill my musical tastes into one band, Fountains of Wayne is probably the best representation of it.
And that was so eloquently put, I thought I'd steal it. And so if I could distill my musical tastes into one band, because this band encompasses, I think, my love for electronic, my love for sampling, my love for, ugly metal and, crazy visuals and stuff. This is it. So next time, and rightfully so, just in time for Halloween, we're going to be listening to White Zombie.
Woohoo!
Yep.
This is a band that I actually do have some familiarity with. A friend of mine in high school was a big White Zombie fan, and we listened to some of this band's music together. So I'm very, very curious to hear what the rest of their catalog sounds like and what tracks you're going to pick. So awesome.
So am I.
Outstanding. Well, thanks everybody for listening. This meant a lot to me, and I'm glad it was so much fun. So, we here at Turning Tracks are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. And we have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a Turning Tracks chat, or at least we hope to soon, to discuss all manner of stuff relating to music and whenever our next episodes are going to be. And of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com. And while you're at it, please check out all of our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. Turning Tracks and other Geekade podcasts are made possible thanks to the Geekade Patreon page. There, patrons can get access to a monthly podcast topic and recording schedule, get early access to most of Geekade's shows, including this one, and more. And if you've enjoyed our podcast over the years, please follow the link in the description and give it a look. We really appreciate it. And finally, as always, be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. Like I said before, we're going to leave you with a song called Cemetery Guns. It is the final track from Fountains of Wayne's final album. It is sort of a sad song, but it's beautiful in its own way, and it also once again shows how good these folks could be at writing lyrics. Thanks again for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Shadows on the overpass and puddles in the old dirt path. Peoria lay silent still in the belly of the overgrown, all quiet on the open plain. Footprints to the family plot, wherever more will restless sorrow sleep in a broken heap. Cemetery guns go bang, 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 shooting all the sky full of holes. 21 times in a row for the blue wall widow in the gray raincoat on the green grass down below. From the Indian wells, cut timber from the rolling fells. Granddaddy-o led hearth and home for oil in the company gears. No rest for the errand ones, Godspeed their reckless sons. Whoever more play their forefathers' hands on the foreign sands. Cemetery guns go bang, 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 shooting all the sky full of holes. 21 times in a row for the blue wall widow in the gray raincoat on the green